What's up, everybody? I'm back. I've been on a hiatus from Mortal Kombat and fighting games in general for quite some time, for at least around a month. I've been working on my health and my fitness, and just trying to get back in shape and just taking a detox from competitive fighting games. And yes, I have reviewed the Scorpion changes and the buffs, and I have been playing on and off casually, but uh, I know it's late for this video, but a lot of people were asking me to give my thoughts on this, the new Scorpion 2.0, the buffs, the back 3 cancel, and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna quickly cover the patch notes, and then we can check out some of the stuff the community has come up with, because a lot of players have already come up with tons of stuff. So we can review that, and we can just check out the new cameo. From what I've seen, Ferra's really good with Scorpion. Uh, all right, so. We're gonna talk about Ferra a bit later. Let's first address the changes to Scorpion's kit. Uh, so Standing 4 has more frames of hit advantage. What that basically will do is, before this patch, if you were aware, you couldn't combo from Standing 4 and canceling it into a Hellfire. So this wouldn't combo before the patch. Now it does combo because you have more frames of hit advantage. That's also coupled with it complements the buff that EX teleport can now combo. On the first hit, it won't make your opponent force a jail anymore. Instead, if you do it in the first time in the combo, you can. If you do it the first time in a combo sequence, you can make it combo. So, and it'll only work with 1-2. So it'll work with 1-2. That's about it. It won't work with any other string. Second change, back 3. The first hit can now be special cancelled. So it's gone from being a low to a mid low. And the first hit you can special cancel, and the first hit reaches pretty far, so you can probably get some decent whiff punishes and uh, get some crazy stuff going. There's also more implications to this buff. You can have backdash mind games because uh, EX teleport, or the teleport, is not that minus on recovery anymore. So what that means is you could potentially uh, go for this, backdash, try to get their poke to whiff, do 2-1 into spear, that sort of stuff. Or you could do this, if they try to mash you, do your poke before them, get something going there. Uh, or you could just hit confirm it, back 3. If you see it hit, you can go for a 1-2. If you see it's blocked, you can, be safe. So it's really good. And it also adds a nice little buffer to standing 2 that if you, instead of my previous OS where I used to do a standing 2 into spear buffer, if I turn on my button log. So I used to do this, right? I'm buffering spear behind my standing 2 when it's outside their range, and if they walk into it, spear would connect. But that carried a lot of risk because, if they were still blocking, you're super minus, and that's why I used to use Goro to make it safe and stuff. But now you can just do this OS with EX teleport instead. So you see that? My input's on the left. I'm doing a standing 2 into EX teleport. I'm just buffering it, so if it hits, I can combo. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool OS you can use. Uh, you know, they walk into that range. All right, something else I want to address before we get to the cameos and the new cameo and the other cameo buffs, Goro and stuff. Let's talk about a really great system mechanic that has been tweaked to actually be viable to use. If you remember, there's a mechanic in this game. Wait, I'll just put it on the screen. Here's the buff for it. What they've done is this is a system mechanic everybody has. On down 2, on a counter hit or a punish counter, you can jump cancel if you press up and the block button for 2 bars of super meter. So if, for example, if you read a throw, right, could do this sort of stuff. What they've done here is they've buffed it significantly. You have a large frame of time to actually confirm this. You have a long time to confirm it into an up. And what they've also done is they've made it unbreakable, so there is much more incentive to use this. If you want to close out a round, this is actually a crazy buff. This is a system mechanic that nobody has been using, and this is definitely something we should start using, especially with this buff. So if you read a throw, if you punish a jump in, it works on jump ins too, right? So yeah, so you don't have to spend further meter because Scorpion can get damage without that, but look at that. That's 42% and that's almost meterless. You just spend the 2 bars for making this thing unbreakable, and you don't have to spend further bar. You could go into a fatal blow, that would do some mad damage as well. Let's see how much damage this does. Look at that, 545, and all of that is unbreakable. So that is crazy. So if you're a player who likes to do hard reads and that sort of stuff, if you go for a lot of hard reads, this is something you really need to start using. Down 2 into that. You can't preemptively cancel it from what I've seen. You can't do it preemptively. You have to do the down 2, wait for like a frame, like 4 to 5 frames, and then you can go for the up block to cancel that. It also has armor, so that means if they try to make something safe, let's actually test that out. So if we do this, right? Yeah, you see that? That buff is there for a reason. I'm not sure if it used to have armor before, but the buff, the patch notes clearly state that they've added 4 frames of armor to it. So you can do stuff like this. If you have 2 bars to spend, if they have breaker, it doesn't matter. If they try to make some like super minus move safe, right? You can go ham. You can really make it hurt for them. And I didn't have to spend the bar there if I were to optimize, I don't even have to spend the bar. There, you still got 424. You just spend 2 bars and it's unbreakable. You could go for a fatal blow if you have it 520? What was that? Unbreakable. All of this is unbreakable. That is game changing. So we have to start punishing with down 2. It's 9 frames. You can confirm it. You can get some insane damage. That's something Scorpion players, not just Scorpion players, anybody really can put into their game plan now. Great system mechanic, great addition to the game. Alright guys, so you've probably already seen how people have been utilizing Ferra with Scorpion. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details and the combos and all that. I'm just going to talk about the practical aspects because that's what I'm most interested in. I'll link some combo videos from other content creators and stuff for you to check out. Basically, what you can do with Ferra is she's a stance cameo. You call her. It's 12 frames on startup, calling her as a cameo. You have a bunch of moves out of that. I think you have 5 total moves. You have a mid that is plus on block and also launches. So you have this, right? It's plus 3 on block, so you can frame trap with down 1. You have a low, which is the fastest, starting at 17 frames. You have an overhead, and you have this. It's a projectile, which is plus on block. And of course you have the grab, which has quite a bit of range. Like if you do it from here, look at that. It has a decent amount of range. So whenever you're in your opponent's face and you have a lot of frame advantage, so you can go for a 3-way mix. You could do the throw. You could go for the low overhead. You can move with this cameo. It's kind of like a backdash and a forward dash. You can call her while in the air. So you can have throw combos with her because you're in the air. In the air, you can only do 1 move, which is the overhead. So you can technically make your jumping teleport safe as well. So you've probably seen that too. So you do something like this. You're only -1 there. But it consumes all your meter, so you can use that probably once and then she'll be on a long cooldown. Uh, let's talk about how we can actually start using the mix Ferra provides, because Ferra gives Scorpion the one thing he doesn't have and he needs. That is some true mix, some mix up to open up your opponents, right? Now you will probably see a lot of people go for this, right? They'll do this, then try to go for something. But the problem with this is, it's fine if you hit confirm something. Like if you hit confirm something, then it's fine. Because you can go for like double stand for combos mid screen. Yeah, you can go for double, and that does like some crazy amount of damage. And you can go for some Vortex mix with armor and stuff. You know, you have your setups and stuff. We'll talk about setups a bit later, but right now what I want to talk about is how can we practically force our opponent to block our mix-up on block within our strings, right? We need a way to set it up. It won't work with 2-1 because obviously your opponent can interrupt that, right? So if I have myself set as this, I'm gonna try to do this. Yeah. The only way to counter this is obviously to interrupt it, right? There, you can jump it. If you jump it, you can actually probably cover all the options, because you won't get hit by the throw, you won't get hit by the low, and you won't get hit by the grab either, right? Yeah, so that's not really a practical way to go about it. You can't just do this on block. That's a no-no, right? At high level lobbies, that's not gonna work. Against good players, that's not gonna work. What instead you're gonna do is Scorpion will have, he has two ways where he can force your opponent to take the mix on block in your block strings. And what I want you to do is, yeah, it's back three. The first hit of back three, cancel that into something. Your opponent has to block this or armor through it. They cannot poke you with their 7 frames. I haven't tested it with a 6 frame, but you know, the only 6 frame is lose 6 frame. But you know, if you have some spacing here, you can go for a guaranteed mix. Your opponent has to guess here. Right? You could go for the low. And not only are you mixing on block, what you're also doing is making your back three safe. So that's actually pretty crazy. So the first hit of back three, your opponent cannot interrupt this. Let me also just put it on so that we can show you if he does a down one. Right? There, counter. Even if you're in his face, right? The first hit of back three has enough block stun to allow you to do this mix up on block. Didn't time right. There we go. So back three is one string where you can access this on block. Another string is back two. Back two is only 9 frames on startup. It's a 0 on block. It creates a lot of space. Look at the space. It creates so much space. Enough for you to backdash, right? But the question is, back 2's a high and its range is kind of questionable, right? How do we ensure we can get this with back 3? Well, whenever you go for a down 1 punish, so if I were to give you an example where we punish our opponent's down 1, right? Like that. So you have 12 frames of hit advantage. That means you can jail your back 2 after punishing with a down 1. Instead of, you know, going for like a 1-2, you go for a back 2. You're using Ferra. Special cancel back 2 into Ferra. Then you can go for some guaranteed mix again. Back 2 is 0 on block. It has a lot of hit stun. Cancel that, go for that. See? It doesn't matter if you're point blank in their face when you do this. You can go for the mix. And how you're going to set that up is by being plus after punishing a down 1. So something like yeah, so I have him set to take the hit on this, and then he's going to block the back 2 because it's going to jail, and then he's going to try to mash down 1, right? But here's what happens. See that? I could go for the low as well. It'll still combo. So the two ways you're going to access this mix-up on block is back 3 and back 2, right? And then you can go for your combos and whatever. So that's what I would recommend. There aren't any other strings where you can do this safely. Uh, it's not really a thing. Like, all of that is fake. This is fake, you know? That's fake. That's fake. So back 3 and back 2. You gotta remember those. That's for on-block situations, right? Let's talk about some Okizime loops because Ferra is all about Oki pressure, knockdown pressure, and Vortex mix-up, right? You go from one combo into a setup, you go to another mix-up, you have armor. Uh, there's a move Ferra has, which is in the stance. It's, yeah, this pain and gain, down, down, RB. Once you call her, then you do that. You get uh, armor for a certain number of frames when you activate it. You take a bit of damage. Look at that. You take 50 points of damage. If you do it again, you get 100 points of damage. What this does is it's going to buff your overall damage. It's going to give you armor for the startup frames, a bit more than the startup frames, and it'll allow you to mix your opponent. So you can vortex them in a pretty crazy way. So say for example, I do something like this. There. So you can restand them with a standing 4, and because standing 4 got buffed on its hit advantage, you have 17 frames of hit advantage after that. It's special cancelable, so you do that, you call Ferra, and you don't want to immediately go for the mix because that'll result in a combo. Instead, you want to walk with Ferra a bit, like do a forward walk with Ferra, and from forward walk you go into that, right? So you know if you're doing it right. If you do it instantly, you'll get a combo. You don't want that. You want the restand to be a mix-up, right? That's a combo as well. So you walk for a few frames and then you do it. There. So after spear, you can go for stand 4 into a vortex mix. It's a safe mix-up. You could go for the 3-way mix. You could, you know, get creative with it. So that's pretty interesting. You can go for restand vortex mix-ups, or you could alternatively go for, like, if you do a regular hit confirm, say for example, uh, you get some armor frames, and you know you can go for a mix-up again. So that's pretty cool. You want to be careful with this though, because if there are characters who have fast normals like Johnny Cage's 2-1 or Kung Lao or even Takeda's 1-2, it's fast enough to break that armor. So setups like these will stop working. So it's better to just go for the stand for resets. They're actually crazy. The only way for your opponent to escape those, they cannot jump, they cannot mash a poke, they cannot do anything. They either have to take the mix or they have to armor out of it. And even armoring out of it is kind of tricky because they have a very tight window to try and armor and they could mess it up. So restand into this, it's crazy. Hell, you could go for the throw, you know, if you wanted. So uh, that's all I have on the practical ways we can use Ferra. Uh, you give Vortex mix, you can hit confirm into Ferra, use this, do double stand for combos in mid screen and do some crazy damage. Uh, you can guarantee some mix-ups on block with either back 3, which will combo. Uh, this will also combo. Or you could, you know, get some frame advantage, start jailing your back 2, and special canceling it into Ferra calls. Uh, that's it about this cameo. Let's discuss Goro now because Goro got some crazy buffs. All right, let's talk about Goro. You know, now we can you can use any of his moves as an ambush. You just have to do the raise the roof at a different distance, you know, and you can then call any other move that comes out of it, but it takes up your entire bar of cameo. Now, the issue here is Goro's recharge rate is already so slow that look at that. If you consume all of that, look at how much time it's going to take. Look at that. The slowest recharge rate in the entire game, probably. So if you've used this once, you probably won't have it for the entirety of the whole round, you know, the current round that you're playing. Uh, but what this does allow is some crazy damage. You can use punch walk and sandwich your opponent, and you've probably seen that with a lot of different characters using that punch walk on a grounded opponent to stack up some crazy amounts of damage. So you can get a mid-screen 4 stand 4 combos. You can use 4 stand 4s in a single combo, which is actually crazy. I'll drop the video here. Uh, or we could do it on the first try. Look at that, 514, and that was my first try. I didn't even. Uh, the trick to getting 4 stand 4s in a single combo is after you do your Hellfire, you need to call Goro a bit later because you have a lot of frame advantage with Hellfire on hit. Delay Goro a bit and then start doing your stand 4s. You could start mashing them. And you know you've done it right is when the third stand 4 you do launches your opponent a bit higher. You can then go for a micro dash into another stand 4 into spear. So you can get some big damage, but you know, if your opponent uses a breaker, which they will probably build with how long this combo is, you know, you've lost all of your Goro, and then you have to play with Scorpion, you know, just as a base character. I wouldn't recommend going for stuff like I'm seeing people do this on block, then trying to go for this. You don't have to use the entire meter. If you're gonna do this, just time your Goro with the last hit of your death spin, and you can still be safe or possibly plus if you perfectly time it, right? -4. You know, you can be safe with just half your meter. And if you're thinking, what if I just want to get a combo with this? It's still not a good idea because you want to get a combo with Hellfire instead. Deathspin has a lot of hits. The more hits you have in a combo sequence, the more scaling it's gonna add. And every hit of Deathspin is what? 20 points of damage. So that's gonna stack up and it's gonna scale heavily. Instead of going for that, you just go for the multiple stand 4 combos because that's one hit that does a juicy 70 damage. You can get 4 of them in. So if you're gonna go for Goro punch walk combos, just use stand 4. Don't go for death spin. You can make death spin safe anyways with just half a bar. So that's something. One additional thing which is nice is at first I used to call Goro and do something like this preemptively, right? To get combos. Now you can just, because you can cancel back 3, you could just go for stuff like this, and if they block it, which doesn't really matter, that's when you can start going for Goro, So you have more layers to this, you have more time to assess whether it hit or not, and then call Goro. So that's pretty nice. You don't have to waste Goro immediately. I've seen people do a lot of setups where they end their combo sequence with a 3-3-3 into Hellfire, and what they're gonna do is with Hellfire they're gonna call this the overhead grab or the ducking grab, which gets ducking opponents, not the overhead grab. So, but I've tested it out and the setup is fake. It's not really real. Let's see. See that? That setup is fake. So, and the issue with it is you're also gonna get punished for it. So I wouldn't recommend using that setup. Goro is more catered to the neutral play. You make your stuff safe. You play around your long range strings. And if you're like ending the round or something that your opponent is low enough for you to end the round with a throw combo, yeah, sure, then you can go for something like this, Even in this throw combo, you can get up to like 3 stand 4s if you want to be really optimal. Otherwise, 2 is also fine. But it'll use up all your gauge. So use these as a round ender, Goro punch walk stuff. Otherwise, with Goro, you just play the neutral, play like you've always been playing. You have more leverage with the back 3 cancels now. Hell, you could do make your teleport safe. You know, all the old Goro stuff. It still applies. Just the added benefit is if you happen to have a full bar of Cameo, you can go for some big damage, or you could go for a throw combo to end the round. But that's about it. Goro hasn't changed much otherwise. Uh, I'm not gonna cover too much of other stuff. This is the main stuff that I was wanted to cover. Practical uses of Ferra and how to practically use her in actual matches. I'll link some Ferra combos and some some other Scorpion content creators who've covered the buffs in detail, way more detail than me. So check those out if you want. Thank you for watching. If you're on the hunt for more tech, more Scorpion specific tech, join the Shirai Ryu Discord server that was started by my good friend Helon Leash, another great Scorpion content creator. He has tech for days. So he started the server. You can join it. There's lots of tech for you to discover. Always there's people posting more and more stuff. uh, Join the Discord server, and if you haven't subscribed already, 85% of my viewers are not subscribed, so consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. Thank you.